Welcome to the module on trust and engagement. In this module, you will learn the importance of trust and engagement as a leader, how employee engagement looks at ServiceMaster, and how to create a culture of engagement as a leader. Click the circles below to navigate through the course. Let's start by meeting this team from a ServiceMaster office. Dan, the manager, has 3 direct reports: Anthony, Thomas, and Shirley. As you listen to them, consider whether you think the team is engaged or not, and why. This is Dan. Dan is a manager and has 3 direct reports: Anthony, Thomas, and Shirley. Dan feels he is an effective manager and practices good habits when building relationships with his team. He provides continuous feedback and coaching to his direct reports and is brave enough to communicate honestly with them using clear and direct language. He recognizes when they need training and holds his team accountable for their performance. Dan considers himself an approachable leader and listens actively when employees come to him with concerns or suggestions. Meet Anthony. Anthony is an accountant. He takes pride in his work and has a great working relationship with Dan, his supervisor. Anthony feels he is recognized regularly for his work, which leads to a sense of personal accomplishment in his job. He especially enjoys the team-building activities Dan arranges outside of work, such as bowling and movie night, because it helps bring the team closer together in a laid-back way. This is Thomas. Thomas is a sales manager. He sees where he fits into the larger picture at ServiceMaster and sees his growth potential professionally and personally within the organization. He feels Dan holds him accountable for his work and gives him frequent formal and informal feedback on his performance. Thomas feels appreciated and comfortable communicating honestly with Dan. Meet Shirley. Shirley is a sales rep. She is passionate, energetic, and feels like her work at ServiceMaster is meaningful. Shirley loves that Dan gives her opportunities to learn and grow on the job. He communicates effectively, and he shares what's going on within the organization. Shirley especially appreciates the emphasis Dan puts on continuous learning through formal and informal training. What do these colleagues have in common? They're all engaged employees. How does this manager affect team engagement through his words and actions? Let's take a closer look at employee engagement, the importance of it as a leader at ServiceMaster, and best practices for increasing employee engagement among your team. So what does employee engagement mean at ServiceMaster? Simply put, engagement is how satisfied an employee is with his or her job, but there's a lot more to it. Click below to learn more about the contributors to employee engagement. Job satisfaction. Engagement is about how the employee feels about their job, their company, their relationships with their leaders and other team members, their responsibilities, and their customers. All of the aspects that make up their day-to-day job. When employees are engaged, they have a high level of job satisfaction. Attitude. Engagement means that employees have a positive attitude toward their job. This plays a big role in how willing they are to continue to learn and perform well at work. Involvement. Employees feel a sense of ownership when they are highly engaged. They want to do whatever they can to be sure their team and the company as a whole are successful. As a manager, how can you create a culture of trust and engagement? Here are a few tips to increase employee engagement and some ways to execute the actions to help create a culture of trust in your office. Instill a sense of pride in the work. Use ServiceMaster's performance management process, discussed later in the Foundations of Leadership program, to communicate to employees how their work contributes to achieving company-wide objectives. Performance meetings provide an opportunity to establish an alignment between the employee's role and ServiceMaster's missions and goals. Create a sense of trust and transparency with your leadership. Keep your employees out of the dark. If you fail to share crucial company information, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you leave employees no choice but to come to their own conclusions. So, whenever feasible, give your employees updates on financial performance and long and short-term goals and explain what this information means for them and their jobs. Keeping your team in the loop will help them feel connected to ServiceMaster. Clearly define your expectations. When employees don't understand what they're supposed to be doing on a certain project, it's hard for them to get excited about it. Every time you give your staff an assignment, spell out as many details as you can and verify that your instructions and expectations are clear. Also, explain how the project fits into the company's larger goals. Encourage them to ask questions if they need additional information. Create a place where people want to work. Professionals feel more eager to come into the office if it's comfortable, clean, and provides all the tools necessary to do the job effectively. They are also happier and more engaged when management promotes a clear commitment to basic courtesy and demands that employees treat each other with respect. Get out of the office. Whenever possible, hold training events, celebrations, and other activities off-site. A change of scenery can provide a break from routine and help professionals reconnect with their coworkers. Allow for some social time in the agenda. It can enhance the spirit of teamwork. Recognize the signs of low morale. Many companies become aware of trouble with motivation and morale only when the problem reaches a tipping point. To prevent this, be aware of the early symptoms. These include a rise in absenteeism, complaints about customer service, poor performance from top employees, or increased conflict between team members. Learn from your employees on their way out. Employees who are leaving the company will sometimes be more frank and honest with you than those who are still on the job. Exit interviews can give you insight into ways your office can improve. Remember, though, that the departing employee may not be entirely objective. Take this into account when you're considering his or her comments. Be consistent. Treat each employee as an individual and tailor your approach to his or her needs. But don't reprimand one employee for taking too long to submit a report while allowing another to go days over the deadline on a similar project. No one likes to work for a manager who appears to play favorites. Show you care. Get to know your employees so you can relate to them. Make a point to ask about their hobbies and interests. The better you know them, the more effectively you'll be able to identify what motivates each one. Allow your employees to get to know you as well. Give them a break. Remind employees to take regular breaks to recharge and set a good example by doing so yourself. If your team seems particularly stressed, organize a quick break where you can provide a snack, ice cream, or lunch. Develop your people. Encourage employees to take on new responsibilities and projects outside of their typical roles. Make sure these assignments are manageable for individuals in terms of difficulty and workload, but also try to make them challenging enough that they help employees build skills and experience. By giving your workers a chance to try new things, you will demonstrate your faith in them and prompt them to perform to a higher level. Discuss career aspirations. Just as it's important for ServiceMaster to set company objectives, it's crucial that your employees have career goals so they feel they're working towards something. Talk to your employees about their ambitions and work with them on plans for meeting those goals. Provide constructive criticism. When employees are doing a substandard job, let them know, but do it with care and tact. Never criticize an employee in front of his or her coworkers. Also, focus the discussion on the performance, not the person. In other words, if you think someone is turning in sloppy or incomplete work, don't say, "Why are you so careless these days?" Instead, point out the pattern of mistakes you're seeing with specific examples and discuss how the person might be able to do better in the future. Recognize your employees and provide rewards. 2/3 of professionals surveyed by Office Team and the International Association of Administrative Professionals said they perform better when their efforts are recognized. Keep in mind that rewards don't have to be monetary. Acknowledgement in company publications and the opportunity to broaden job responsibilities are a couple of examples of effective non-financial rewards. Our employees determine whether or not we will be successful as a company. Engaged employees are more productive, energetic, and dedicated to their jobs. Without employees who are engaged and want to work hard to make ServiceMaster successful, we cannot succeed. Use the tips outlined in this module to increase engagement in your office, and make sure to be aware of signs of disengaged employees or a drop in morale, and know what to do to get those employees back on the right track. Congratulations! You have reached the end of this module. Don't forget to contribute to the discussion to earn more points.